You're listening to the 808s and Joysticks podcast, now available on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and iHeartRadio.
Welcome to 808s and Joysticks, the show that bridges the gap between games, music, seasoned with pop culture. I'm Tairell, and joining me today, as always, is Tom.
Yeah, so, we're recording this slightly early due to, travel arrangements, stuff like that, where we're both not going to be in the same country at the same time. So, some of this news might be old by the time you hear it, but, there's no doubt there's a lot of big news this week, and it's the build-up to E3 now, so it's really starting to pick up. We'll just jump straight into it. The first big thing that's come out this week again, there's a lot of stories about it, but Sony had a big executive meeting this week that just sort of detailed a lot about next-gen and streaming services and what they want to do in the future. And you look into it, and it's really interesting. It's stuff they spoke about before, but they mainly talk about stuff like their IP now. So they've got big, strong IPs now, owned fully by them. Strong branding now. I think they mentioned that they were, third in the UK on a brand sort of relevant scale. I could just do a
little breakdown of some of those stats in a much more closer way. Mm-hmm. Got 13 studios worldwide, so we've got a few in the US, a few in Japan, a few in Europe. Then obviously we've got such titles as the God of War franchise and Uncharted and The Last of Us and the amount of sales. All of those titles have all hit over 10 million, which is amazing for a first party title. The highest paying user spend on any sports title on the US store is MLB, the show, which is I think is a PlayStation exclusive, isn't it? So
yeah,
there you go. You just goes to show that essentially Sony dominated this generation, and I think they're gonna dominate the next generation, but I'm not quite sure. By looking these things about all these brand stats, Microsoft is nowhere near even in the ranks for top 10. So It's kind of weird not to see Microsoft as a recognizable brand or a relevant brand from what was looked like from a survey from 2018 by Profit Brand Relevance Index, which I don't know how regular their stuff is, but for Sony to be using it, it has to be well referenced. So I'm assuming to just go off that information. Yeah, there's a lot of breakdown in this, which is really businessy, and it talks about engagement, and it's pretty interesting to read such a document like this that has things in there probably before we wouldn't really be going into these kind of documents, but once we started doing 808s and Joysticks, it's really interesting to come across a inside piece like this.
I think one of the main things that comes out of this that was also there's also some footage going around of a Wall Street journalist, a guy that works for Wall Street Journal, filming one of the shows for this. And he basically was showing off the difference between current gen and next gen, which is what we've heard about before in the Wired article a few months back in April. But we've not actually seen anything from it yet, and we sort of saw some live footage of that now. So that confirmation is there. And they also confirmed during that as well that the PS4 is going to be around for at least 3 more years of support. And they state it in this document here that it's going to remain the engine of engagement and profitability for the next 3 years. So they're going to have a good tie over into next gen. It's then going to provide the fertile early adopter gamer base critical for next gen success, is what they say, their words, which makes sense. If it does have backwards compatibility, which is confirmed, it's not if it does, it does.
I like the fact as well that they haven't said what backwards compatibility. They've just said backwards compatibility, so we may hear some more things. They said that disk support, 8K, solid state drives, all new CPU, GPU, ray tracing, which is, you know, the brand new buzzword technique that everyone likes to throw for everything now, because that's the new technique to use. But they haven't spoke about the date, the price, games, user experience, or country rollout, which is really quite like, I'm quite surprised they actually like highlighted like the date and the price, like, and the country rollout. Like we know that they haven't spoken about that yet. Like I just think it was kind of odd. User experience in games, fair enough, I understand. They've not really spoken about anything to do with that. The only company that has is obviously Bethesda. They're the only ones who've started to say that their games are in development for the next generation and not this current gen. I'm not quite sure what other, like, can you think of any more studios that have said that? I don't really think I have.
Not really.
Oh, no. Halo Infinity.
Yeah. If we're speaking about sort of just PlayStation sort of next generation, then I can't think of any.
Can't really think of any other ones that's really said anything about their next generation games. So all we know is that Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima, and Last of Us Part 2, it's still outstanding, like, roster for the PlayStation 4. And so that's confirmed to be on that system, and definitely going to get a PS5 release as well, especially judging from those loading speeds. It looks like it's vastly superior as a system, compared to like the Pro.
If we just sort of back up that point as well, like you just mentioned, then the 3 games that are still coming, big AAA games. Sony keep reiterating the point that they are coming to PlayStation 4, and I think that shows that they're going to continue this. So we used to have it a lot with the older generations where we used to see games cross over, and because in recent generations, because titles have become so sort of different over generations, we've not seen that crossover of joint releases. But now they're at a point where they can do that again. It looks like they're taking that path on, so they're going to maybe do a joint release for some of these, is what's rumoured, or it comes to PlayStation 4 and then PlayStation 5 when that comes out. It'll be supported day one basically on PlayStation 5, any PS4 games. We know that. We've seen that with the Spider-Man tech demos that have been released, cutting down the loading times to 0.83 of a second rather than 8 seconds, which is incredible. What that means for the future, depending on next-gen games, I don't know, because obviously you have to take into account how they perform. If there's going to be more content within those, loading times are going to be higher. However, if the SSD is better, the loading times for next-gen games on the next-gen PlayStation may still be lower than current-gen games on the current-gen PlayStation. So it all depends on that, really. But they seem like they've learnt from last generation a lot, especially sort of being in control. They've learnt a lot of how to be in control of that and how to improve upon that, but not sort of run with it and try and, I don't want to say rip people off because we don't know the price yet, but they're sort of understanding what gamers want more. And I think we'll definitely, I know we're going to see some Xbox stuff at E3 this year. They've confirmed that we're going to see something, but the fact Sony are slowly rolling this out and it's leaking here, there and everywhere all the time, and they're speaking to people publicly about it, it makes me feel like we're going to see some sort of small announcement at their E3.
I like the approach that PlayStation is taking as as a developer, and obviously as like a hardware developer, as well as they're going to several different outlets and almost kind of like showing it off to different people, getting thoughts, throwing little pieces of information out there, seeing how people react to it. It's almost like they're crafting the system round opinions and thoughts, and they're getting little feedbacks to things that they're just teasing out there and thinking, oh, wait, we're hearing people don't really care about 8K. Maybe we should try and focus on steady frame rate or something like that. Or maybe even a higher frame rate, because, like PC, sometimes you can run games at a much higher frame rate rather than 8K, because 8K is such a stretch and more of a trend when frame rates are much more important, especially for pro gaming and things like that. So, I think it's quite interesting to see the route that PlayStation has taken in order to release a lot of public information. Like, we're getting so much information about this next gen console where for the PlayStation 4 and the 3, there was like information was scarce when I think about it. Like, you wouldn't really know what was in the console until they do the big unveil. But they even broke it down in here about how CD and DVD was for the PlayStation and the PlayStation 2. Blu-ray and download was integral for the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 in terms of like the gamer choice. And then they're saying for next gen, the gamer should have the choice to do Blu-ray, download, and streaming, like all three in one. So not taking away the physical aspect, but also giving a new alternative, which is essentially there to replace both downloading and the physical medium. So like, it's quite interesting to see them actually try and coexist with and actually kind of like buying into consumerism and, you know, us wanting things on demand and wanting to have so much choice, but not being willing to, you know, maybe sacrifice like one choice for a better choice, you know, like, because this can be tedious sometimes, and streaming could be better if our internet providers gave us better internet. It all works in one big system. So I find it quite interesting. PlayStation 5 is probably definitely going to be like the end of line ultimate PlayStation. Like, I don't think, what else could they do after that?
One thing I want to say on that was leading like straight on to my next point. They've got a sort of image set up here which shows the generational sort of improvements on digital formats. So we have the PlayStation and PlayStation 2 that supported CD DVD in a sort of 2 table category. PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 that support Blu-ray and downloads in a 2 sort of category as well. And then we've got Blu-ray, download and streaming, and then next gen, but also they've left space for 2 consoles there as well. So are they planning, and I know this is pure speculation on our end now, but it does seem like they're really sort of planning for the future with this. You know, they know streaming's going to be important, and that's probably the next best thing.
I wouldn't be surprised if they just called it the PlayStation, and that is the PlayStation now. This is the last thing we're going to get, and it's just going to be updated because gaming is kind of, it's not hitting its threshold, but in terms of like processing power, there's only so much more you can do with games, and that is just making them more and more open world, and that's not what everyone wants out of a game. You don't need to use that much of the processing power to make the game so vast and full of things that are just useless, rather than actually focusing on just doing like a nice 12-hour story mode that's not too much going on in there, and it's not an open world with lots of like 1,000 endings and stuff like that. Like, I think that we might see like a shift in the type of games that are being made. Like, maybe like single player games might actually die out. We're not sure, because
I don't know. I don't think so. I think streaming lends itself a lot easier to multiplayer, but the fact that they're supporting disc and many of their big IPs, their sole IPs that they own, that have done really well, are all single player content. So I don't feel like they'll step away from that, but I feel like they're just also they realize that there is another market out there for people that don't play single player games, and they've got the single player market sort of on hand, because they provide one of the best single player experiences exclusively on PlayStation with their own.
That's true, really. Like, Microsoft only at the moment has Gears and Halo that I can think of that they're like trying to bring to the table in terms of like a single player experience, but that also is renowned for its multiplayer experience. Well, Halo and Gears was not, so it's a bit debatable now about how renowned those experiences are now. But it's kind of crazy to see how much Sony's banking on streaming. Well, they did do a great investment in buying their initial streaming service, which is Gaikai, which was like a streaming service already in Japan, which was like, I think it was like for 400 million. So that was like a big move in the first place. Then they obviously launched PS Now, and then now PS Now is like big. It's getting bigger and bigger over the years. So,
well, we spoke about it before, actually. As much as we look at PS Now and don't think it's a big thing for them, they actually are the leading game streamer in the market of game streaming. Like, if you want a game streaming platform, the best one or the most used one is PlayStation Now, which it's just sort of gone under the radar a little bit, but they are on top of that game streaming stuff. And I mean, sort of to follow that up, they're mentioning this document as well. The other news about PlayStation this week.
This is actually kind of like, when I heard this news, I was quite shocked, because I thought, wow, this is kind of like something that we as kids always said like we wished happened. Like,
I mean, if you were shocked, some of the PlayStation team was shocked as well. They didn't know it was happening.
That's kind of crazy that they blindsided their own team, though. That's a bit foul. Like, I thought that
the difference is it's because it's Sony. Sony is, just because they've partnered with Microsoft to use Azure, that doesn't mean that it's just for gaming. They can, it's just as a company.
Well, come on now, Tom. You're being a bit. You're giving them a little bit of. But it says it says new cloud-based solutions for gaming experiences and AI solutions. That's definitely, and and it says this follows the model successfully followed in our PSN business. Go on now. It's definitely about PlayStation.
I mean, Azure is probably better than the service they've currently got for streaming stuff.
Yeah, that's true, but we don't really know what Microsoft really has to bring to the game, because they've been trying to get off their cloud, their cloud stuff, and it ain't really never worked. So they've always spoke about it. Apparently, it was in Crackdown 3, but we know how trash that game was. So
it don't matter, because at the end of the day,
it's good. Yeah, it's
if
great.
Sony are working with Microsoft with Azure,
we got cross-play.
The way Azure works, Sony will have to pay Xbox so much per data they use all the time anyway. So, well, not Xbox, but Microsoft. So, at the end of the day, Microsoft is going to be earning money off the back of gaming in some form or another of game streaming.
But they wouldn't team up with Xbox's streaming service, because Sony already has one, and they paid 400 million for it. So they wouldn't ever pay another company to do their streaming for them. I think they're just trying to. I think this is just going to maybe partnership PlayStation and Xbox together. I think this is just a really secret way of them saying we're probably going to be working on some things together, and eventually everyone's going to be connected, because we already know Nintendo's looking to feature Xbox games on the Switch. So I'm quite surprised by it. I think it's kind of cool. We always wanted like Xbox and like PlayStation to like, actually work together and, like play online, like across the board. Like crossplay is becoming more and more of a normal thing. And same with PlayStation, like Sony's actually being a lot more lenient with their crossplay now, and they're letting more companies and developers and whatnot like allow for crossplay on PC, Switch, Xbox, all of that, phones. Like, this is good. This is good in the gaming industry. Like, I'm happy to hear news like this. But also, it might spell bad for Nintendo, but I highly doubt it. But
I don't think anything will spell bad for Nintendo. I like,
not at the moment.
The Wii U was awful in the sense that no one really cared, and then they brought the Switch out, which is the best-selling console in 2 years. So they know what they're doing. They just sometimes they get a bit ahead of themselves and try and be too innovative, and that bites them. But then they innovated so well last time, they don't have to do it the next time. And they come back from that.
Nintendo's kind of chilling, but I can tell they're kind of getting like a little bit like, I feel like their like Steam's ran out a little bit. Like Switch was at such a high point. Like I think people are not as hyped at the moment for Nintendo. There's a lot of talk around Microsoft and Sony at the moment because of all these kind of like major next gen talks, and like we're not sure when the Switch is gonna be going into that next gen with those, because obviously that comes along with next gen third party titles, and if that's not supported on the Switch, could that be another problem for Nintendo, or will the Switch still be getting supported the same way?
I don't think it matters either. Personally, I have a Switch, and I don't think it matters if it's next gen or not. It does the job I've got it for, to play handheld gaming.
Yeah, okay.
I'm playing Nintendo exclusives.
For you,
that's it.
For you, yeah. But I mean, like, what about the people who got a Switch because they thought they could play third party titles on there, but are now coming to the conclusion that they can't play the same third party titles because they're next gen and can't be supported by the Switch? Do you think that could potentially pose a problem for Nintendo, though?
Yeah, it just depends on what
games are.
Yeah, what games you're into. I mean, at the end of the day, there's always going to be a better, like a best platform to play a game on. And if you want to play a sports game in high detail with good frame rate, for example, something like FIFA or NBA, which is on Switch, then yeah, you are going to get a more of a limited experience on a handheld device because it's not as high in quality as something that you'd want on a big console or a home PC. You know, it's about what you want, and if you are going to take something out handheld, you also need to realize that there's limitations towards that as well. Like, you can't expect to have an 8K super fast game on a handheld device in 2019. It's not possible. If streaming becomes a thing, because I know streaming can work on the Switch, if streaming gets good enough to work on the Switch, then it's a completely different story. But at the moment, there's I mean, we've heard rumors about sort of mini Switch or Switch Pro, but Nintendo keeps shooting it down. To me, I always thought they just shoot stuff down for the sake of it, but they keep doing it. I just feel like it's not coming. I feel like if they were gonna, they would probably have hinted at something.
Well, last time when somebody asked them, they said that Nintendo refuses to comment. And then now this time, all they've said is that there's not going to be like a new Switch model. Well, we'll get into that now anyway. There's not going to be a new Switch model announced at E3, which I didn't think was going to happen anyway. I thought that would just be announced in its own spare time, in its own direct.
Yeah, not just do a random direct.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be, but that's not saying that a new Switch model isn't coming, because we know there's a more powerful and the lightweight one's already on sale elsewhere in Japan without the dock and everything. Like, there's the one with...
It's been on sale for a long... It's the same Switch, it just doesn't come with the dock.
Just doesn't come with the dock, and the things are not removable, aren't they? Aren't they just...
No, they still are removable.
They're still removable. Okay, cool.
It's just literally a console without the dock.
Without the dock. So, I guess you could buy the dock anyway, so... Mm-hmm. Or does it have does the dock covered up? Like, is the hole not there for the dock? Is it just a solely handheld one?
I think that you still have the connector there for the dock, because it's the same way you used to charge it.
Oh, okay.
But you can you just don't have to have the dock if you just want to play it in handheld mode.
Right, which, fair enough.
You know, it's just another... I think that's just the thing that a lot of Japanese companies do. We've seen with games consoles over the years, even with, you know, action figures, stuff like that, games, anime. Japan gets a lot of exclusive stuff for that doesn't get released elsewhere. So it's not really, nothing really changes. They just do like different bundles there or something that you can get over in Japan only. Yeah,
just because they know that definitely in like in Asian territories, they're much more likely to be playing the game handheld. Like, mobile gaming is their biggest, like that's their biggest form of gaming over there. Either that or the PS Vita is really still big in Japan and Asian territories. So it's it's a smart move by Nintendo anyway to do something like that, but it's not coming here. But I think it would have been a smart move to do it in Western territories as well, because I feel like some people literally don't use their dock at all. Like, how many times have you used your dock?
Probably like 5. Yeah.
See, exactly. It's just like one of them. If anything, Nintendo should have just sold the console and sold the dock separately. But
I mean, it's more, for me personally, it's more a sort of setup issue where, like,
yeah,
if I could have it set up, then I'd use it. I know people that use their docks all the time. Like, they set up on their TV, play it in front, and it's so easy to set up and then just get it off and go and continue. But yeah, it just all depends. I think we'll still see something, but like you said, I think we'll probably see it in a direct, and I think we'll probably see that direct February next year, something like that. I think around a 3-year mark of the Switch is probably when it's time to announce something else. I think before that, it's a bit too early. You know, people might just be like, "Oh, I don't really want to go out and buy that because I've only just bought this one." Whereas 3 years on, that's like a time where people are at a good crossroads and say, "Well, yeah, I've had it for 3 years. I'll get a new one."
Yeah, well, if the features bolster enough for a newer console, then yeah, I'd say go for it. Like the PlayStation versus the PlayStation Pro never really made me want to get a PlayStation Pro, where I can see in the Xbox's case, people could get Xbox One X because it was a lot better than the Xbox One. So, I guess it's just up to people whether they, as I said, like whether it's their time where they feel like they've got enough money out of their first Switch, so they're deciding to get the newer Switch, the Switch 2, which Nintendo do all the time with the DSs as well. So this is not a surprise if they do this with the Switch. Yeah, and also it could be their way of getting into the next gen as well with some better hardware in there. So that'd be really cool. But yeah, apart from that, that's really like our like Sony, like Microsoft and Nintendo, the big three news.
And the build up to E3 news, because this year, essentially, as much as people are saying it's not about the hardware, and we've heard it's not, I think it is.
Indirectly, it is.
Last year, it was not really about the games that much, and it was hinted last year the hardware was coming. So this year, it's been majorly hinted that hardware's coming, and we know hardware is being worked on, and we know Microsoft are going to show something there, or Xbox.
Well, yeah, they had a whole like little section talking about the next generation, like, and we were quite surprised. We was like, "Oh shit, okay, Microsoft's just starting this straight off the back, like just telling us about that we are now working on our next generation console." I was like, straight away, like. It was just kind of weird because you're selling all these games for current gen that are not even coming out for like the next 2 to 3 years, but you're talking about working on the next generation of your console. You have a game that's supposed to come out at the beginning of this current gen, which didn't release yet, but you're working on the next gen. It just doesn't make sense. Like, obviously, Death Stranding and Ghost of Tsushima and that is kind of the same as well, because they haven't been released yet, and Sony's releasing so much so much information about the PlayStation 5 that we have to believe that it's going to be on that console as well. Whereas like Xbox, they have so many games that we still haven't seen yet, and that's still supposed to be coming out for their console. I wonder how many of those games are going to be transferred to the next gen, or are they going to be kept on the Xbox One X?
Well, I mean, that's, again, interesting and up for debate. We don't really know what is going to come on. Like,
it's going to be an interesting E3. It might be boring and not as exciting, but it will be very interesting though.
I think I'm fine with that. I think it's a hard time now to say that this game's going to come out. We know the games that are coming out already. Like, people aren't really announcing games at E3. People are dropping out of E3 left, right, and centre. To me, that screams like hardware.
Yeah,
it screams there's more important things than our game at E3 this year, so we'll announce it before or we'll announce it after.
I don't know. I just have no idea what everyone's thinking. I really want to know what Bethesda's going to do though, because that's going to be hilarious. because I just really want to know how Todd Howard's going to like bullshit his way out of this one.
Yeah,
because after Fallout 76 and the Elder Scrolls like free to play game that's not even come out yet, but was announced like a year ago. Like, it's just weird. Like, why is that not out yet properly? Why is it still in beta? It was announced last year. It's a free to play Elder Scrolls game. Like, what are you doing?
Probably because, like you said, what you've heard from beta testing, it's not that good.
Well, it's a fucking grind fest. That's all it is. It would be good if they took all the loot boxes out. Like, it's just bullshit, man.
That's one thing we haven't spoke about that was announced this week that was really weird. Have you seen Minecraft? Is it Minecraft Worlds?
Oh shit! Yeah, Minecraft Earth.
Minecraft
Yeah. Like basically Pokemon Go in Minecraft. Yeah, it kind of looks a little bit fire. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna front. It kind of looks a little bit fire.
Well, are you interested in it?
Like, I ain't interested in it because I'm not interested in Minecraft at all. But like, I'm kind of like just interested in the way it looks. Like, I know it's not going to look like that because I remember the screenshots for Pokemon Go looking like that, and it looked nothing like that. So
yeah, well, it does say dramatization at the bottom of the trailer. So
bullshit.
I mean,
yeah, I try it for one day, just see what it's saying. Like, just see what happens. But
yeah, I mean, like, I'm not a fan of Minecraft, but I've played it from time to time, and it's a good game. It's fun to play. Like, it's there for the reason just to have fun and build stuff. Just that's the reason it's good to play with people. It's just doing
shit in it. Like, it's not really.
Again, Pokemon Go was also. I don't think anything will ever reach that sort of scale again. There's been Ghostbuster games since then. Jurassic Park or Jurassic World game since then. There's a Harry Potter game coming out by Niantic as well. All like AR games, but this is the only thing I can see that will be like not a rival to that, but sort of maybe pick up the same hype, because Minecraft is one of the best-selling franchises in gaming history still. So that is one of the things that you'd probably think people would want to play with, especially considering a lot of Minecraft is based around building together as such.
Yeah.
You know, it's got that element to it. What the game's going to be, I don't really know. I don't know if you have to build stuff together. Or
this is the problem with these AR games though. Like, it starts off like really grand in scope, and people are expecting like these great big missions. You come to find out the game is just flat. Like, at the beginning, like, look how shit Pokemon Go was for like the first, like 6 months. I don't even know. Like, I can't even remember how long we like. Everyone was struggling like to get anything remotely different. Like, you would have to just be so random and rare to go and get stuff. Like, it was such a shit time. Like, but now it's not that bad. It's a lot better. Like, you can regularly get Pokemon, you can do the Pokestops and all kind of things there. Like, it isn't like a bad like game. Like,
they still have a very big active user base, which people forget about now. But
yeah, like I was walking back from work.
15 to 20 million people playing the game every day.
Yeah, I was walking back from work the other day, and I seen like a group of people all pulled up with their phones out, and I was just like, what the hell is that? And like, I looked over to someone's phone, and it was all Pokemon Go.
Yeah, they have improved it. The trouble is, I don't think it would have ever stayed around. But it was just hype, wasn't it? It was a trend. It was hype. People got hyped and played it because it was a good summer. Again, like that, those things never stay around. Same with any game. You know, your player base dies off at some point and drops down to the people that are dedicated to that game.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fine.
Yeah, loyal fans. It's just weird to see like how many people, like all of different like types and different ethnicities and everything. Like, it was kind of great to see, but at the same time I was just like, wow, you lot are still this dedicated to the game. Like, shit, it's kind of a lot of dedication. Like, you've got your baby out here. Like, is it really that deep? for Pokemon, right?
I mean, like, if that's what people want to do, then
Fair enough, innit? Like,
maybe that's like, instead of playing console games, you know, a lot of people do it. They did it to get fit, didn't they? Which was like another good thing. It'd be interesting to see what Minecraft Earth is, though, because I'm up for trying it out and seeing what it's like, because I like building stuff. Whether you have to build stuff in AR together, I don't know if that's going to be. I don't know if I really want to be walking around with my phone, like, placing blocks in front of me. That doesn't sound exciting.
It sounds very dangerous.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, if Pokemon Go is dangerous, then me walking down, looking at the floor, putting a block there, and walking in the road is probably more dangerous.
Definitely. So, we'll have to see. We'll have to see as well how much of it is similar to Pokemon Go, because I believe, is this being worked on with Niantic? Or is this a totally different company?
I'm not entirely sure.
One second, I'm checking it out.
I don't think so. It is going to be free, which again is good.
No, it's just Mojang and Microsoft Studios.
It does just look like you have to build stuff together, which is cool, and you can see other people's creations. That's cool, but I don't know what the selling point of AR is for that. Is there really a selling point of AR for that? Like, is it more like, location based?
Can someone show me what the actual game's going to look like? Because I don't want to see these dramatizations, because it's just not real.
Well, you'll see when it comes out.
It's not going to be that great.
From what I'm seeing from certain screenshots, it does not look that good. If you're a Minecraft fan, you might probably enjoy it, but for like a casual, where Pokemon Go sort of really, really hit it off, because that really lent into casual fans as well as, you know, hardcore fans. This doesn't seem like people that aren't like people that are dedicated fans would play it, but casual fans would not be interested in it too much. I don't know. The other interesting one is Harry Potter Wizards Unite, the AR game that's coming as well. Just while we're on the topic, because that is made by Niantic, or in conjunction with Niantic, and that could be something that reaches the same level of Pokemon Go. Harry Potter is very much more sort of, it has a big dedicated fan base, but also, you know, there'll be a casual fan base behind that as well, where they'll want to play something Harry Potter. And from what Niantic's already learnt with their experience on Pokemon Go for the last, I don't know how many years, you know, they've already got the backbone there again, but improved again this time. So that's it. I think it's something to watch out for. It could definitely be a big hitter when it comes out, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, also there's like, I've just found like a whole article where like somebody actually got to play it, and they've done a lot of details about what the game is actually going to be about. And they said, in the demo I played, a few other members of the press, we got to experience a couple of build plates and adventures at life size, technically about three-quarters life size. The one block to 1 meter scale turned out to be a little daunting in testing. It was absolute chaos, really, everyone placing blocks and destroying them and flooding the area and putting down chickens, but it totally worked. The system uses Microsoft's new Azure spatial anchor system, which quickly and continuously fixed our locations in a virtual space. It updated remarkably quickly with no lag, showing the location and orientation of other players in real time. Meanwhile, the game world itself was rock solid in space, smooth to enter and explore, and rarely buggy out, and that's only in understandable circumstances. That's great news considering how heavy the game leans on a multiplayer experience. So they said that they've only tested up to 10 players at a time. So like, don't expect like 64 player raids. And then also they said that AR is not optional. It is fully there, so you can't turn off the AR like you can with Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
So that might turn off a little, like, some people. But apart from that, it sounds like it's a pretty good concept, and people said it sounds pretty good. But that's press though, so who are we really to say? And it will be kind of like the HoloLens version of Minecraft. So do you remember that trailer?
I thought that's just basically what it was.
Well, apparently it's going to be more like it's like a predecessor, like more spiritually than technically. That's apparently what they said. So I'm guessing the HoloLens version of Minecraft is kind of like just been axed now. I'm like, this is their new thing that they're going to be doing now, which is interesting. So
I mean, to be fair, I think the HoloLens maybe got axed because we've not heard about that in a long time.
Well, it's surprising you say that because on my exam, we had a lot to do with the HoloLens, like talking about it, and yeah, really stupid. Like, I ain't really gonna go into it. But I looked up the HoloLens, and they're actually working on like a new HoloLens, like HoloLens 2. So that's supposed to be coming, I think, next year. So they're still putting efforts into the HoloLens. I just don't know I don't think they can get it to work commercially. And I know they tried to get it to work like in a much more like business kind of state. Well, I don't think that worked either. So I don't know what they're really trying to achieve now.
It's more gimmicky. I mean, just to sort of wrap it up, we both spoke about Minecraft now, what we know about it. While it seems interesting for some people, it doesn't seem like it's got that same pull for everyone. The more I sort of look into it and the more we speak about it doesn't seem like I'd enjoy pretending I'm in Minecraft but in the real world. You know, I feel like that game works really well because it's not you walking around with your phone.
Exactly. I agree. Yeah, like it sounds good in concept, but I'm trying to think about it more and more. Like the way how you can't really turn off the AR seems a little bit like I'm not really feeling it. Like, because that means I would constantly have to use my camera at all times. Like that would literally kill your phone so quickly. It just I just don't really think it's gonna work. Like, I don't know. Who knows? It might actually work. But we'll have to see. Like, we already knew what was happening with Pokemon Go, with like people getting their phones like robbed. Like, this would happen even more if you had to constantly have your camera like out and like looking in your surroundings because the game is fully AR. So yeah, it's true. Yeah, just to wrap up, really, just not really sure. Looking kind of forward to see what it actually looks like. You got anything else to say on it?
Not really, but we could move on to films and TVs slightly.
Oh, wait. We can't. What about Epic?
Does anyone care about Epic? We
just go quickly. Okay, Epic's got a sale on. Publishers are pulling their game. It's an absolute shit show right now. They tried to get one over Steam. They didn't. Epic's in quite a disarray at the moment. They're blocking people from buying games for too quickly. I think the Epic store is, yeah, I could have been wrong on this one still. It might not be that great. Like, I think it needs to really sort itself out before anything happens. It just doesn't know what it's doing at the moment. Anyway, move on, film and TV.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't really know what they're doing. Like, I don't know too much about it. I've seen stuff about it, but I don't know whose fault it is. I don't know if it's Epic's fault or publisher's fault or what.
It seems like it's Epic's fault. Like, publishers are pulling them because it basically devalues like their game, like, but it's already on sale. So, like, say for example, they sold the game at like $18, and with this sale you can get $10 off a game. If it goes to $8, that means any time that game goes back on sale again, it would need to be lower than the $8. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So like publishers are like, it's devalued like the game, like this is really bad for us and business, like, so we have to pull our game. Like even Borderlands, which is an exclusive, pulled their game because they didn't want their game to be underneath the pre-order, which was £50, like $50, like there, whereas like on everywhere else, like it's still full price. So like then they would have been forced to charge everyone the pre-order to be like £50. So like, yeah, it was kind of stupid, but it kind of wasn't at the same time. Like, I see what Epic was trying to do because they were footing the bill of the $10, not the companies. And like, I guess they should have not maybe done it on pre-orders as well. That was a bit weird. So like to have a sale on pre-orders is really weird in my opinion.
I'm going to be like an advocate for Epic, but I feel like Steam would have done this before, and I don't really see what was too wrong with it. Like, yeah, they do give $10 off for every game that's over like £13.99, but they also make up that £10 for the publishers or the developers as well. So it's not as if they're losing out. But I mean, if they think it's devaluing their game, then it's up to them. Like, they've asked for it to be pulled, and the games did get pulled from the store. So, you know, it is still a shit show.
I don't think it's as much of an outrage as some people are trying to like people are really trying to like act like it's the worst thing ever. Like Epic Store is like the worst thing that's ever happened to like PC gaming, and I'm just like, not really. Like, there's
Epic
like
Store is the mortal enemy at the moment, basically.
Like, oh, like everyone like Young really hates the Epic Store. Like, I didn't understand like why he just dislikes it so much. Like, there's so many like YouTubers and like popular like sources and stuff like that just really dislike the Epic Store. Even Jim Sterling is like really gone back and like and kind of like now is like siding with the people who are against Epic just because of like the stupid moves that Epic's doing, but really don't need to like go that hard on them. They're just trying to cause a little competition. I think that's what everyone's a little bit afraid about. So
I like the shake-up.
I do like the shake-up as well.
I'm a big fan of the shake-up. I always like it when there's some sort of big controversy in these areas, especially when, you know, we get to discuss it now, when it's something that is very interesting to us as gamers to know what's going on. I mean, we were just speaking earlier about Microsoft and Xbox and how, you know, them and Nintendo are having partnerships as well now, and like that was all everywhere. But for how long did people throw up the controversy that PlayStation weren't allowing crossplay? And that was like, people were making that out as if it was like the worst thing ever. But I mean, like, look, it's their business. If they don't want to do it, it's up to them.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, PlayStation,
I'm still gonna play PlayStation.
As I said, PlayStation had the power. Like, it's not their fault that they had the power and they've got the most successful console of this generation. Like, it's like, it's up to them what they want to do. Like, Microsoft would have done the same thing in the Xbox 360 days. They did actually do the same thing. They used to do shit like that as well. So
everyone would do the same thing. It's business.
Exactly.
Business is just there's. I mean, there is morals, but they're limited. It's based on consumers, how much they spend. I know we've seen from the document we spoke about earlier, you know, right at the very start, that Sony actually earn a lot of money on people. 90% of people that had a PlayStation logged into it within the last 12 months. You know, a PlayStation 4. So they obviously don't care if the minority are moaning about crossplay.
That's crazy. That's 90% of their PlayStation.
Yeah.
How many did we find out that they sold the other day? Mad amounts in it. Like,
yeah, but also you've got to think that's not including things like that 90%. You've got to take off the anomaly in there as well. So, you know, people would have sold their PlayStations. So there's PlayStations that are still out there on the store. People that aren't using them. PlayStations that have broke and not been replaced. or reported PlayStations that have been stolen and aren't used to log on anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so that 90% could be as high as 95% of current on market in use PlayStations, which is mad to think about.
That's crazy.
90% is a high percentage, but if you take out the anomalies, it's a very, very high percentage of people that are still playing that console, that own it. I think you would probably get the same numbers with something like an Xbox. You know, most people, when they buy a console, log in within, the last 12 months. But we don't see how many of those people log in within the last 12 months. But like you said, we know that PlayStation have sold a lot of consoles. And if you take 90% of that, it's got to be over 40, 50 million people that are logging in every 12 months to play on a PlayStation 4.
Yeah. I just think it's the PlayStation, the way how they've done this generation, that's why I feel like Sony definitely is going to try and like own the next gen. And as I said, that people just like to be outraged, and that kind of moves in anyway into like our like next section about like how PlayStation and Sony is just not really like slowing down, are they? Like they've got a new film and TV studio production company. I wonder why they've like decided to go this way, like movies and series based on games. This could be crazy. We're looking at in like, you know, like a Death Stranding like film or something. This could be really, really cool. So
it's not a bad shout considering. Well, I mean, I know Kojima's not behind the Metal Gear film, but he is working on it in some capacity, helping of some sorts. So he's got a bit of experience in that, and also the people in the game are also actors. So yeah, that leads well to make a TV series out of it, I guess, if you use the same characters.
Yeah, well, Sean Layden is like involved, which is obviously like chairman of like Sony Interactive, like, yeah, and they said that the team has looked into what Marvel has done in taking the world of comic books and making it into the biggest thing in the film world. So, but did not commit to pursuing such an ambitious crossover cinematic universe. So, like, I'm guessing, like,
yeah, don't give me a PlayStation.
Yeah, we don't want the PlayStation verse, like
a PCU. I don't want that.
The PCU. That sounds like a nasty ass verse. We don't need the PCU. We do not need the PlayStation Cinematic Universe. That just sounds
the PSCU.
Oh, fuck that. We do not need that. That just sounds nah. So in all, PlayStation Productions says it has more than 100 game titles to choose from, but did not specify which properties it's developing movies or TV shows around. 100 film? What titles were they looking at?
Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, fuck that film. No. Like, that film, like, actually came out and it was terrible. Like, it didn't do well, did it?
Yeah, a lot of people forgot that film came out.
I don't know why they even bothered. No one asked for that. Actually, nobody asked for the Ratchet and Clank film. Like, so I'm quite...
Did that Sly Cooper film ever come out?
Wait a minute. Was this supposed to be a Sly Cooper film?
Yeah, I don't remember. That was meant to come out right after Ratchet and Clank, the Sly Cooper film.
Yeah, like, because it seemed like Sony was kind of trying to, like, put out films and see if the, like, people wanted to watch them.
Yeah, and no one did. So then they decided a few years later, let's go and make a TV studio. I mean, baffling decision, but...
Right, so apparently it's in development hell. So it was originally supposed to be out in 2016. But it's just been delayed to hell. And Sly Cooper is... It's just delayed. Like, I don't think it's really got a place. It hasn't got a publisher, hasn't got a distributor, like, properly. It's ran out of money. the last thing anybody's seen of it is 2017. They had a trailer for Sly Cooper, which was for it supposed to come out in 2018, and it still hasn't released. So I'm guessing that's just probably going to get cancelled now.
I mean, the good thing is PlayStation. They've said in this document as well from the executive meeting. You know, they did help to actually produce and distribute Breaking Bad, which is one of the best modern TV series. So you can't deny that Sony Pictures don't make good stuff. But PlayStation Production is obviously a new division of that now, focused mainly on gaming assets. Now, from reports I've seen and heard, if they were going to take something on from a game, they don't want to focus it around the game story, but more the game world. So they won't be using that much of the same stories or characters. But they'll still be like, it'll be Uncharted, but there might not be a Nathan Drake or something. You know, which it could work. You know? You could have the Uncharted world and lore and stuff, but then have a different character in there, so it doesn't cross over. And maybe you could cross it over with a game later on. It would be a nice tie-in. Yeah,
it would be nice to have little precursor TV series or little TV series or a little film to go after the game. So, you know, you could still carry on maybe extending the universe, I guess, like after, so makes people want to play the game because they've seen the film, or, you know, little things like that.
Well, I think that's maybe what they're hinting at with this. Looked at what Marvel did in taking the world of comic books and making it into the biggest thing in the film world, but not committing to like an ambitious crossover cinematic universe. But I think there will definitely be links between whatever they make and the games. You know, it's still a singular IP.
Oh, well, shit. Twisted Metal got announced. That's the first series that they're working on, Twisted Metal. So, and Flying Lotus want to do the soundtrack for it. So
yeah,
that's pretty interesting. But with that being said, though, in the exec meeting document, it did say that now Sony is using only Sony artists to produce first-party title music. So we could start hearing like Brockhampton, Tyler, a bunch of other people who are signed to Sony, like record labels, Columbia, anyone who's signed to Columbia, RCA, Epic. We're going to hear Travis. They're all underneath Sony. So they apparently have a deal now to produce music for first-party titles. So we're going to hear some interesting music and scores and things like that. And don't know who Flying Lotus actually distributes under, because I know he's independent. So I'm not sure if any like record label he works with is linked to Sony, because that would be interesting if he could do the Twisted Metal soundtrack.
Yeah. Now I'm interested. What is a sort of PlayStation IP that you'd want a TV series or film from the most?
Oh, PlayStation IP.
Because, you know, I know here that they've mentioned an Uncharted film before. Apparently they attempted to make a Gran Turismo movie, which I don't really want, because I have a feeling that's just going to be Fast and Furious.
Nah, but I don't think that it wouldn't be like that, because Gran Turismo is way more chill and way more classy than like Fast and Furious. Like Gran Turismo is like, when you play the game, you feel like you're a luxury man. Like you're in like a luxury Japanese, like you feel like a Japanese luxury man. Like with all the music that plays on in the background, like the little like jazzy bar music, like it's real nice and chill. Like I like the beats. Like the beats are kind of like, I don't know, kind of like R&B. Like it's hard, like with like jazz influence in the background. I felt like the Gran Turismo movie would have just been way too slow. Like it would have been much more of like a slice of life film about like a guy trying to become a driver or something, and then like he just driving lots of sick cars with music playing in the background, which sounds more of like a concept film rather than an actual film. So, which is Gran Turismo usually is, like it's a concept game. Like the guy who makes Gran Turismo is not even a game developer or designer. He's a car fanatic that happened to make a game. So, like, a film like that wouldn't work. That's true. Uncharted, without a doubt, would work. I just don't know what they're doing. Like, I guess they just need to get the right people on it, because we've seen the success with Detective Pikachu, but we haven't quite seen the success with, you know, Sonic, which is going to come out, and it's going to, if they don't fix it, and I can't see it being fixed without real issues being like implemented in the film. Because how is it possible to fix a film in like 6 months' time? I did 3D and visual effects and wasn't very great at it, but I know it's really long and it's tedious work, and my teacher also told us about how long and tedious it can be to create a character, let alone rig it, reanimate, all sorts of crazy things. So it's also sad. I'm just praying for the people at the studio, because I know now they're going to be having immense amount of pressure on top of them to deliver Sonic now in a much better way, because some dick came out and promised that like Sonic will be made like great, like in the eyes of, like, this might actually damage the quality of the film now, rather than just living up to the fucking fans. Like it's probably going to make the film a little bit worse, in my opinion.
I think like IPs I'd be looking for that would work. The Last of Us would obviously work. Yeah, that's it. That's one that they could take. But more stuff that I'd want to see personally, like a God of War film, or like something like a Shadow of the Colossus film. Like I think that'd be, even something like The Last Guardian. I know it's a puzzle game, it's slightly different, but you could tell quite a nice story about that. Like, even if it's an animated film or something.
I would say, yeah, maybe it would work as an animated film. As a live action, I don't think so. I would like to maybe see what's the game called? I'm pretty sure it's a Sony exclusive. I forgot now.
What, Parappa the Rapper? Live action.
I actually would like to see a Parappa the Rapper live action. It'd probably be really funny.
In live action? No, I'm not watching that in live action.
It'd probably be really funny. Now, I would like to see a Parappa the Rapper film, like an animated film, but they did do an anime of it, and it was pretty good. So, I actually don't know what else. Maybe Jack and Daxter?
Yeah.
Wait, Wipeout will be hard. Oh, it's like a racing game, like a racing film. Yeah, that would be really
if you imagine like a Tron sort of thing, but with Wipeout.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I think that'd be a pretty hard film. Jack and Daxter, I'm not really like too bothered about. I feel like I don't know where they'd put it, because the trouble is, it's like they've got to think, where do they want to put this audience? Like if they are going to release some films to do with like child-friendly IPs as well, Jack and Daxter is something they'd probably want to steer clear of. Well, just to be sure.
It's weird, because obviously Jack and Daxter started off as a child-friendly IP, and then the second game was a 12, and then the last game was like, I think a 15 or something like that. So like, or a 12 or a 15 or a teen or whatever. Which, because the games grew up with the audience, so it made sense. But I'm guessing maybe they don't have. I would say start out of the gate teenage with Jack and Daxter. It was basically a teenage game anyway, and I think that they'll be fine with a 12A, light swearing, maybe some more of the later series. You can move up to a 15, more blood, more swearing, whatever you want to put in the game. At the end of the day, he does get transported to like a wasteland. You know, real gritty shit happens in wastelands, so like it's not really a surprise. He would have to do some things that are not very kid friendly, which is not to say that, you know, kid films can't be like set in wastelands, but it tends to not be set in such a dark setting as that, because it wasn't just a wasteland. He was actually like also like underneath like a dictator as well. Like it was quite political when I think about Jack and Daxter now. Like there's some messages in there that would definitely be trying to like portray a bigger thing. So that'd be interesting. The
difference is, I think, so Marvel, Marvel films do well, the MCU does well, because it's catered towards a younger audience. It's catered towards everyone, you know, and a lot of PlayStation's recent IPs are catered towards older audiences. Now, they can go the one way and take a lot of the younger things they've got, like Little Big Planet or something. You know, they could roll with that and do a full film series on that, and sort of introduce like all the, I don't know, child-friendly characters into one universe, in like a film universe. It could work. Sort of something similar to like a Wreck-It Ralph style, maybe, but like have that as like the big film at the end where everyone comes in together, if they want to take it that route. Or they can go full out sort of, we're going to do proper sort of, you know, mature PlayStation stuff, like bring in like Until Dawn, start doing that, or the Order 1866, stuff like that. Like a lot of those games that they've come out recently as exclusives, and they would really work as like really good sort of, I don't know, gritty or horror TV series or films. You know, even something like Killzone, a Killzone film would be quite good. Yeah, it depends how they, you know, you wouldn't want a Killzone film to be catered towards children. You'd probably look at having like a Knack film. But, you know, if a Knack film is something they're going to release, it's probably not down my alley. I'm probably going to steer clear of the Knack film.
Yeah, come on now. I'm actually kind of like a little bit kind of sad that I'm like, it's the technical designer of like the PS4. They must have just let him make that game because he made the PlayStation. Like, I'm on about, what's his name, Mark Cerny. Like, yeah, they must have just been like, you made the PlayStation, so you get to make like the first game for it or whatever. Like, I don't know what they told him to do, but it got a sequel somehow. So
my man should stick to making hardware.
Yeah, he should stick to making. Well, he wasn't always a hardware guy, but let's not even get into that because like we've still got a ton of things to like still cover in this section and the music section. So it's been a pretty lengthy one. Yeah, like Game of Thrones is over now to the dismay of like millions of people. I'm sure we'll get into that later on. Westworld was announced straight away because they were like, fuck all that Game of Thrones shit. It was whack anyway. We're focusing on Westworld now. That's going to be our new best series ever.
It was announced before the episode came on. And to be honest, the highlight of that episode for me, the finale of Game of Thrones, was the Westworld trailer at the beginning.
That's what lots of people were saying. Everyone was like, oh, not gonna lie, that preview like before the preview before Game of Thrones was like the best thing like ever like to see, because you got so many people that are like also now going to be in Westworld, like Kid Cudi and Aaron Paul and Elena Waithe and like Marshawn Lynch, like NFL player. Like this is kind of crazy. So I'm
interested to see how they come into the world. Like is that just because they're celebrities that can afford to go into the world, or are they going to be someone in the world? Like,
nah, Kid Cudi's like an actual person in the world.
Okay.
I think Marshawn Lynch is as well, and Lena Waithe is as well. So I don't know how it all works. I know that apparently this season again is going to be very different from last season. So I
would have liked the crossover between the real world and this world, but I also see why that it wouldn't work as well. So I think if any series could do it, Westworld would be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, there's not much to really say. It was only a 90-second preview, but I'm guessing maybe we should. You're our only residential Game of Thrones fan. Do you want to take us down like what happened with the finale and what your thoughts are about the series, and can you kind of explain a little bit, like to me as like a person who isn't a fan, why people are upset like about the series?
It was shit.
Oh, okay. Straight off the back. So what? Every episode was shit, or like?
No,
or,
I mean,
like,
to be fair,
good?
it's been, in my opinion, it's been dying down since about season 6, the end of season 6. It was getting good, and they keep dragging it out, and then there's like so much filler shit, and it makes sense, obviously, but you can't put all that filler stuff in and then have a 6-episode final season and then end it the way it's just a cheap get out. Like, it just seemed rushed. It didn't seem like, it seemed like they wrote like a really good story and got to the end and had not that many references and were like, how do we end this? Oh, let's just do this. Oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Like, and that was it. Like, there wasn't really any like explanation behind the decisions, and then it it just sort of skips forward, and you don't know what's happened. You don't know who spoke to who, and then the decision at the end, like, there was no reasoning as to why that was. I mean, I still don't have a fucking clue why Bran is in the show. Like, what the fuck is the point in that? Like, you see his goal, these powers and shit, but like, I don't know what he does with them. I mean, he sat in his wheelchair for like the whole season and said like 4 things. Like, and he's meant to be one of the most pivotal characters in the whole series. So it just seemed like it was rushed. A lot of the actors thought the ending was a bit of a joke, and were not happy with it as well, which is never a good sign. You know, after 8 seasons, you sort of want your actors to be like interested in the end at least, or enjoy the ending of it. It's still not the worst ending of a series I've ever watched. I'd put it second to Dexter, because Dexter pissed me off a lot. That was another thing, 8 seasons in, and then just we're like, oh, what do we do with this? I don't know. We'll just make him a lumberjack. All right, cool. Fucking sorry if there's spoilers there, but I mean, that series came out a long time ago. If you've not watched it by now, I mean, you know the ending. But watch it, but just don't expect anything at the end. Like,
yeah,
the ending has no relevance to anything else. That's why it was such a bad ending. At least the ending of Game of Thrones had some relevance, but it just wasn't explained enough. Or I know I said they dragged the episodes out, but the trouble is they sort of dragged too many of them out and then condensed too much stuff into other ones, and there was no, like, I didn't feel like it was balanced. I don't know.
Well, it's kind of just, I'm trying to think of like a series that's comparable to like what I've like had, but I actually haven't had anything that's like this, and I'm really sad that like people have watched this for so many years. Like my housemate, like, he was talking about like, you watched the Game of Thrones since like season 2, like, and followed it since season 2. He said for so many years, like, and for it to end in such a state that it ended in, it seems like people who were much newer to the series, who like binge watched it like in the last like year or so, were much more happy with that, like, the outcome, rather than long-standing fans. That's the consensus that I was just observing from like Twitter and social media and Instagram and stuff like that.
I totally get that.
So like, I think it's just really like kind of like a bit harsh. Like, if you are like a fan of this and it's ending and this is how it ends. So, but like, as I said, like, lots of people keep saying like, could have been like The Walking Dead, which like ended really shit. So,
yeah, I mean, I've not seen that, but it was a thing where it probably didn't go on for too long. They just didn't wrap it up in time.
I think they got too ahead of themselves as well. Like, the whole, we're releasing an episode and it's going to be movie length. And then when it came out, they weren't really movie length. And then they just kind of felt a little bit flat. And then there was so many inconsistencies with the editing, and like water bottles were in the last episode. Like, everything seemed a little bit like, this is a top tier HBO series It's supposed to be well produced. It's supposed to be tight. It's supposed to be the best series of ever. Like,
but we're waiting 2 years, two whole years,
exactly.
And the hype around it as well.
Exactly. I don't even watch Game of Thrones, and I've had to fucking endure it for like how many years, like everywhere. People, my mom, my dad, like my friends beating me saying, hey, why are you not watching it? Hey, Game of Thrones is on. Like, I don't know, Twitter's telling me to watch it. I'm just not watching it. Like, and then for it to like end that way, I really would feel sorry for some of you fans, because it must have just been shit for it to end that way.
I mean, like, I personally saw some spoilers the week before, just like purely on accident. I didn't read fully into it, but it was just there, and I was just like, I've seen that, and I don't think it's real, but I was like, I've got a feeling it's real. And then the final script came out, and people were like, have you seen this? And I was like, nah. And people were like, oh, apparently it ends really shit. And I was like, oh, that spoiler's fucking true, isn't it? I was like, yeah. And then it happened, and I was like, I knew that was going to happen.
You just knew, like, exactly, like, it's just so many inconsistencies. Like, I can't believe they left water bowls inside of the shot. Like, what kind of amateur move is that, Tom? Like, this is a big show. This is big HBO, you know. This
is the biggest budget.
Time Warner, you know. Like, this ain't no little company. Like, I'm not understanding how Starbucks. Now, fair enough with Starbucks, because I thought like that could have been some smart marketing by Game of Thrones to leave in Starbucks coffee cup, because at the time Starbucks also had a tie-in marketing like promotion with Game of Thrones. So like, I felt like that was really sneaky, and like they left it in like on accident, but not really, because I bet you like Starbucks paid for the cup to be in there. But like, oh my gosh, it's an accident, but no, it wasn't. And then they quote unquote digitally removed the coffee cup after a day. Like, how could you do it so quickly?
I mean, yeah, it's good viral marketing. If it is,
that is great viral marketing. But the water bottles, it literally looked like they were just there, and like, I can't remember who the guy is in the picture, but like whoever it is, like, was trying to hide their foot, like hide the water bowl.
Was it Samuel?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was just like,
you know, like you said, it did feel rushed a little. It didn't feel like there was as much as there'd been in previous seasons. Like, it just all felt a bit like you. Well, obviously, I'm not going to release too many spoilers because you haven't watched it.
No, I don't. At this point, I know a lot.
Want to watch it or not?
I know a lot now. I know a lot about the series. I know that like people weren't happy with Daenerys becoming the Mad King or whatever, like something like that. The Ice King apparently got killed off with the swiftness. Like, he was just killed straight up.
Not even with the swiftness. Like, I could have survived longer.
Jesus.
But he's been there for 8 seasons, and then
he just gets
like,
killed.
It's just like that. Just like one click. Like,
and he's the guy that everyone's been scared of, innit? Like, everyone's like, oh, yeah, the Ice King's coming. Like, oh, he's got. Like, I keep seeing the pictures of his face. I'm like, oh, this looks like one bad mother. Yo, let's do it. Let's do it. Like, no, and then he gets killed. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I'll be really pissed off. Like, I would be really upset if this happened.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people are upset because the books are obviously different to the film.
Oh yeah, but that's always going to happen though. Like, come on now.
I mean, that's fine. It's just
the books have not been the same for like since like season 3 or 2 or something like that. Yeah. Apparently, so like,
no, they haven't. It's the way that you go into the final season though. The end of season 7, which is again spoilers if anyone's listening hasn't seen it, or for you. The end of season 7, you have everyone approaching the wall, like the army of the dead, with the Night King as the lead. So for that, you're thinking like, oh shit's gonna kick off in season 8. First 2 episodes of season 8, you're like, okay, what the fuck? I don't really care about you kissing someone else. Just like, oh, okay, now you're gonna go and tell this person you don't like them. Okay, like, just fight your fucking war. and then they fight the war, and then it's over, and you're just like, okay, what was the fucking point in the 8 seasons of watching that? And then you're like, okay, well, now some shit's definitely going to come down in the last 3 episodes, and then it's like 2 more of chatting shit, and then the final one. In fact, no, two more, 1 more of chatting shit, then 1 where people go a bit fucking wild, and then the other one, the ending, which is just a bit like, you've just sort of done exactly the same thing you did with the other character, and then not tied up any loose ends at all. Like, they left it open as if it was going to be another season after it, and they know it's the finale. Like, I don't know. Like, we could move on to something else, because I'm done with that series.
I'm about to say, man, like, I don't really know what to say on it all, because I've not watched it, but I just feel like it's really fucked up what they did in the end, and hopefully
everyone will have their own opinions on it. Like, some people will like it, some people won't. Like, I'm fine with that. I'm not unhappy with it, but I feel like they could have done a lot better in the series. It deserved better, especially with all the hype and stuff around it. Like, you can't hype something up that much and then do that. Like, you've got to think, or you've got to, like, if you need more time, you need more time. Like, it's an iconic thing, and the only thing people are going to remember now is the ending of it, which is really sad. But it's up to them. But we'll move on to something lighter and nicer that's upcoming and hopefully won't end badly, which is Stranger Things. Like, something we both watch and I have confidence in. So, what's this about them releasing a Coke flavour in conjunction?
It's not really like a Coke flavour. It's more like, it's new Coke. So, back in the day, Coke had, like, classic Coke, like, and it was always great, and, like, Coke was, like, one of the most popular drinks ever in, like, the world. It was so iconic. Like, they ain't changed the recipe for hundreds of years. 100 years. Like, it was their 99th year, and in 1985 they decided to introduce new Coke, which was, like, it was Coke, but apparently it was, like, better. But people were so blinded by nostalgia, they just liked the taste of Coke as it was. So 79 days after, roughly 3 months, they brought out another Coke, which is called Coca-Cola Classic. And then they had new Coke as well, which ran for another few years. I think like another 9 years it ran for. It turned into Coke 2, and then they had Coca-Cola Classic alongside with it. Some people thought that it was just a marketing ploy. I think it was actually Coke being too smart, and they got ahead of themselves and thought, we could release anything and people would just drink it. Like, no, it didn't work that way. But now people think that, like, Coke is obviously different now. So Coke is probably new Coke, but they're apparently releasing it in its exact recipe as 1985, as new Coke. So people who weren't born in the 80s get to try it. So hopefully it comes out in England, because I want to try new Coke. So
hopefully it comes out in America.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shit. Yeah. You definitely should be able to get it back with me. You can't bring it back, but someone would definitely have it, and you get to try it at least. Hopefully I get to try it. So, hopefully they put it in cinemas or something, like as like a promotion, or maybe at certain places might sell it. So yeah, it's really cool. It's all to tie in with 1985, and you know, that's when everything was going on for, like, Stranger Things, the story that they've got. So they've making it more like, so we're involved, like, with the series. Like, we're also drinking, like, you know, there's new Coke on the shelves. Like, it's really weird how they've, like, tied this all in, and how big Stranger Things has got. Like, now they have a Coca-Cola, like, major crossover deal, like, in their TV series, which is so major for Netflix to secure. Like, Netflix could really be securing much more different, like, promotions and brands. Like, it goes to show that, like, they are still a big player right now, like in terms of like the streaming game. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting a couple years when like Disney Plus and Hulu and stuff like that like comes through, and let's just see how this all plays out, really.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing that Netflix announced this week as well, they're bringing out that new Fire Coke for the new Narcos series. So you got to look out for that on the store shelves coming soon as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, new Fire Coke. Apparently it's pure Colombian. So it's meant to be some good shit. Netflix are backing it, so...
Fuck off, Tom. I just thought I was like, yeah, I was thinking, meant to be some good shit. I was like, what? What's he talking? Fuck off. Like, I knew exactly what he's talking about, you joker.
Yeah, I mean, personally, like, that's not my sort of thing, but I'd like to see just a collaboration. I would never see a collaboration like that, but it would be funny to have like a sort of a Narcos limited edition Coke. Like, I mean,
like, and like tie it in, like, because back in the day, Coca-Cola did really have cocaine in it. So
yeah, I mean, not put actual cocaine in the Coke, but just like,
hey, maybe, man, what's good?
They could hint at it. Like,
legalize. No, I'm joking. Yeah, like, really, it could be a great thing for Netflix and Coke now. Coca-Cola has so many different, like, different things.
I'll take that original Dr. Pepper.
Oh. Dr. Pepper. Like, we're not even going to get into some kind of argument about what kind of drink we're taking Dr. Pepper. I would like a still Fanta. Why did McDonald's take it away? I don't know. It's like they wanted me to fight them. So
yeah, I don't think still Fanta would link in.
Let's not diss still Fanta because it's the superior drink.
I'm not dissing still Fanta. I'm just questioning the link to it.
Well, I don't know where it came from. Like, who decided like to give us Fanta with no fizz with it? Like, who decided on just orange as well?
I'd probably a drunk guy that was drinking, or a guy that was just drinking Fanta and he left it there for a few days and was just, I'll have my Fanta. I was a bit still and he was like, it tastes nicer still. Yeah. And they wouldn't have been much change either. They just probably don't add carbonated water to it. Or they add less carbonated water to it.
No, yeah, it's definitely just like still water or whatever. Oh, just little, not really breaking news, but kind of breaking news. The Ouya officially dies next month.
Okay, moving on.
Oh no! Do you know what's sad as well? Your account will be deactivated, and like I feel like you'll no longer be able to access your accounts or games on the server.
Isn't it just your Android account anyway?
I don't know. No, you have an Ouya account.
Well, I'm sorry if you purchased an Ouya, then you should have seen that coming. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't be sympathetic towards that.
Wait, Razer owns Ouya?
Well, I don't know if that was at the time, but they probably bought it after and tried to do something with it and it failed. But there is one thing I want to talk about left on the game and TV section. I know quickly you want to mention John Wick 4 coming out.
Oh yeah, John Wick is going to get a number 4 in 2021, and that's probably one of the greatest things to come out of this year because John Wick is hard, and I can't wait to watch John Wick 3. So
I still need to go and watch that.
John Wick TV series coming out as well, so that's going to be hard too.
There's also a few John Wick games coming out as well. John Wick's in Fortnite now. There's a new Fortnite mode.
Oh yeah, John Wick event in Fortnite. Also, Fortnite crossover with Jordan as well, Jumpman. So that's
I can't keep up with this.
It's bullshit. Like, it's all really just creating more and more problems because people just think that they can put like clothes in games now, and people are going to want to buy them because of Fortnite. And it's true, people do want to buy stupid shit like
It is
Jordans, like in a Fortnite game. Like kids want to buy that shit.
I've done my proper research on it, and you know, people do want to buy that stuff. I don't know why,
exactly.
But
I don't understand though.
It's personalization. It's making it unique to yourself, and I think that's sort of what people like. It's interesting. A topic for another time. But again, if you're a fan of John Wick and you like games, interesting games or strategy games, stealth games, and you're familiar with things like, I think Thomas Was Alone and Volume, Subsurface Circular, then Mike Bithell is making a game called John Wick Hex, which is basically like a strategy game, but in a really sort of cool... I mean, it feels like John Wick, but it's like a good strategy game as well. Like, it looks like it, and Mike Bithell makes a lot of good games. So, if you're interested in that, then go check it out. I think it's probably an Epic Games exclusive, maybe. It is coming to Epic Games. So, you know, check it out. If you like it, then feel free to go buy it, because Mike Bithell makes some good games, and it's good to support a good indie developer that's, you know, working his way up still and making better and better games. Getting a big deal like this is a big step for him.
Definitely.
And then the last thing, the big thing. Well, not the big. There's a lot of big things this week. Black Mirror is going to be coming back for season 5, and it's at the start of June. I can't remember the exact date, but it is at the start of June. June 5th. June 5th is coming. It features Miley Cyrus. It features loads of other people that I can't name because I forgot. But yeah, the biggest thing is it features Miley Cyrus, and it features a lot of other sort of big name people now coming back into it, which is nice to see. And it does look very, very Black Mirror, but also very sort of, I don't know, more big budget, you could say, than what we'd seen previously. Like, I know the last 2 seasons on Netflix have been Netflix, but they're looking a bit more big budget now. And it's also not Bandersnatch. As much as Bandersnatch was interesting, these aren't interactive. It's just normal Black Mirror. So I'm looking forward to it again.
Yeah. Season 5 Black Mirror looks very interesting. Obviously, going back to the traditional style, they say 3. There's going to be 3 stories. So that means like 3 episodes, I'm guessing, which is a lot shorter than usual. And I'm guessing maybe this is going to be split up into parts as well. So it's like part 1 of season 5 and then part 2. Maybe a Christmas special. I'm not quite sure. And I've taken a look at the trailer, like the mega trailer, but I haven't taken a look at like the actual like separate trailers. So we've got Smithereens, Rachel, Jack, and Ashley, and then Striking Vipers. So those are the 3 prominent titles that have been shown. So yeah, June 5th, which is kind of around the corner. So that's going to be interesting. Miley Cyrus looks like she's acting pretty good in this as well. So that's quite like interesting to see her acting in a film again, or like in a TV series. I think it's like the first time in quite a while, isn't it? Like, yeah.
It's nice to see her back acting and also sort of playing a pop star, so it's still linked in a way.
It kind of is like she's playing like a Hannah Montana character again, but in like a much more like Black Mirror style. So it's kind of cool to see her taking on that role, because maybe she is someone who can understand something like that as playing a child actress about playing herself, but playing two different people. Like, it was a very confusing time for like a child to do that, because obviously she was playing Hannah Montana, but she also was Miley Cyrus, but she was playing in a TV series Miley and Hannah Montana as herself, but also obviously different versions of her real life. Like, she wasn't really like that in Hannah Montana. So that kind of suggests some of the things why Miley Cyrus is the way she is now, and, you know, child actors and whatnot, but we ain't really here to have that kind of discussion. So it's just interesting. Yeah.
Another child actor as well. It's nice to see Eric Foreman doing well in his life.
Eric Foreman.
Topher Grace is in Smithereens, the first episode. Topher Grace, who played Eric Foreman on the 70s show.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Foreman's doing well for himself, so it's all good. Topher Grace, also an actor that was recently in Love, Death and Robots as well. So he's not shy to appear in this sort of thing. So he's got experience of it, which leads me to believe that he will put in another good performance for this.
Interesting. Very interesting.
One more interesting thing before we move on to music, because a big thing in music, but one more interesting thing. Netflix did actually announce that they're going to be at E3 this year.
What, Netflix?
Mm-hmm. And they will announce games at E3 is what they said. So it's all changing. Like, PlayStation going into films, Netflix coming into games. We're doing the big switcheroo. Who knows what's going to happen? You know, they are going to show some of the Stranger Things game, apparently. And said there's more to come. But they're also doing a panel about bringing your favourite shows to life, about developing Netflix originals into video games, which is really interesting. You know, whether that means...
We did say this, didn't we? We did say that Netflix is trying to go the much more interactive gaming route from Bandersnatch and the Minecraft game that they've already got on there. And they've also got the Bear Grylls game as well.
Yeah, so, I mean, we'll see what comes of it, but I think, what is it? The NX brand, this is what the article says. The NX brand tends to promote animated series like She-Ra, The Princess of Power, Voltron, Dragon Prince, and live action series like Umbrella Academy and Altered Carbon.
Yeah, now, NX usually seems to always talk about like brand new cutting edge like TV like programming. So like usually kind of like very much towards the Gen X millennial like crowd rather than like the older crowd. So like it would be like programming that would have like characters of like all sorts of ethnicities and like characters that will all be like maybe different sexualities, things like that. Like certain roles where like traditional roles ain't usually played and like traditional themes aren't usually thrown. Like Altered Carbon is pretty hard to take on as like a person who just watches like standard TV series. Like it's quite a niche TV series to get into. Yeah, so
Altered Carbon, one of my an Altered Carbon game.
You got the anime on the way, innit?
With Cyberpunk 2077.
They're continuing Altered Carbon as an anime now, aren't they? They're not going to do the TV series no more.
No, I think they're still doing the live action one.
Are they?
I think there's going to be 2. But
I thought so. Season 2 still going to carry on. I thought it was just an anime.
I believe so. I believe the anime is maybe not linked, but just in the same universe. Like, it's still Altered Carbon, but it's just an anime boot of it instead of a live action one.
The anime is set in the same universe, exploring new elements.
The live action one was really good. Like it lacked in some areas of special effects, but not the lore, but the whole universe behind it all is pretty interesting. You know, as someone that's a fan of that sort of sci-fi, cyberpunk or dystopian stuff, you can say that it's like pretty interesting.
and it's interesting. I do need to actually like watch it. It's interesting to note that the production costs were not disclosed, but like, Kinnaman, which must be like, I don't know, I want to say maybe the producer or no, is it? I can't really find out who this person is, but yeah, Kinnaman said it had a bigger budget than the first 3 seasons of Game of Thrones.
I mean, if they do better than the last season, that's all I care about.
So that's kind of crazy still. That is kind of crazy. I'm
going to end the salt there because I feel like we're just going to keep talking about Game of Thrones.
We're going to go on one big loop about Game of Thrones and how shit it is. So moving on, we've got the music section. Wow, so big releases this Friday. Well, the past Friday that gone, and there's going to be a few more as well. We're recording this early, so we're just going to whittle it down. We've only got a few minutes left in order to like get this like last few pieces in. So I'm going to quickly go down the new releases. I'm not going to say anything on. We're going to review Tyler's album. I'm going to have a few words for Megan's album and Slow Tie and DJ Khaled. Everyone else's albums and singles I'm just going to do quick little pieces on anyway. So obviously we have Igor by Tyler the Creator, which is released. We will talk about that in about 5 minutes. We've got Fever by Meg Thee Stallion. Said I was going to talk about that as well. Nothing Great About Britain by Slow Tie. Father of a Star by DJ Khaled. Double Dap Diaries by Digga D. Purple Emoji by Ty Dolla $ign and J. Cole. That's a single. Apollo. I think that's 21.
21.
Apollo 21. Steve Lacy. For Real by YG. Places Plus Faces, Amine. Doing Time by Lana Del Rey. No Complaints by Black Party and DMP Hefe. That's actually like become like one of my favorite songs. Like it's pretty hard. Like I'm glad you put that in the playlist. Zulu Screams by Gold Link, and a bunch of other people like Malik Berry, I think, and somebody else. Groceries by Chance and Teaser Korean. That's a really weird mashup of people, but kind of makes sense. The song's okay, in my opinion. Blockbuster by Rams is the debut album by Rams, which just kind of came out. And Flying Lotus, Flamegra. Some of these albums will be out by the time that this show is released. So yeah, just go check everything out on this pretty solid projects, and all will be hopefully some solid projects to come out, which we will review the following episode, following show. And that's about it really. So we're just gonna get straight into it. Thoughts on Igor. It's been a while now. We've had time to settle with the album. Before I give my thoughts, because I'm just a stan, like, what's your thoughts on the entire project?
I think we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
Now I must say, first listening through, I didn't feel that much of it.
Really?
And yeah, it was weird because I was really looking forward to it. I think I probably didn't have enough time to listen to it and really appreciate it. But I was listening to it constantly, and now like it's one of those where I have like a favorite song, and it'll change like within the hour, and then it'll change again. And I don't like any songs off the album. Like I like every song, but I just can't pick a favorite one. It keeps sort of chopping and changing, but they're all solid songs, and it gets better the more you listen to it. I think honestly, he's really outdone himself to the point where like I don't mind DJ Khaled. I'll probably listen to his album a little bit, but
yeah,
I've not really paid any attention. The only album I've paid attention is Tyler's. Like even Steve Lacy, I've not had the chance to listen to that yet.
Well, it's what's good. It's not out yet. It's still not out.
But even his single that you put on
the
playlist,
like, the new one, it's good. Like it's more of just Steve Lacy though. Like it like Tyler, like this project was such a stark, not even a stark change in style, but like it's the way how he's combined a lot of styles together and kind of lost this whole, like, Flower Boy, when I think about it now, sounds so, not inferior to Igor, but like, it sounds like it's trying to be a bad parody of Igor, and that's not bad on Flower Boy, but it just sounds like some of the songs and the concepts he was trying to do on Flower Boy is complete on this project, if you know what I mean.
I don't know. I'm still a big flan.
Oh yeah,
I'm still a big flan. No, I'm a big fan of Flower
You're a
Boy.
big flan. Well,
Yeah.
that's weird. No, I'm a big fan of Flower Boy as well. And I do like the project. I think it's still solid, but I think Igor achieves those concepts way better than Flower Boy did. Like, the R&B concepts is what my favorite parts were on on that album, is what this album essentially all is. So like Glitter and November and Where the Flower Blooms and Garden Shed, a bunch of those kind of songs is basically the entire album. Like, there's not really any hard hitting songs like Who Dat Boy or anyone. Like, there's like New Magic Wand and Igor's theme, but every song has a breakdown, has like a second beat switch, or has like a bridge that is so like it doesn't have any kind of like drums or anything. It's just straight up chords or something like. Whereas like Who Dat Boy was like just hard hitting, like a hard hitting Tyler beat that sounded much more reminiscent to like Goblin or Bastard. Whereas Igor sounds a lot more like Wolf and Cherry Bomb and Flower Boy and things like that. So I do like where he's also taken influences from his old music, where he used a chord from Tron Cat on Goblin, which is one of his most controversial songs to date, and used it on A Boy Is a Gun, which is one of his most beautiful songs to date, which is like production and lyrics wise. So like, it's kind of like, to see the stark contrast. I like the fact that he plays on his past, where he knows, like, even though that song was really controversial, that song was still really good in terms of production. He used that one little chord to kind of like say, like, that part of me is still there, like, but I've moved on to progress to be a better artist now, like, and I'm using that sound in a different way. So yeah, I sent all the little nods for the old fans. Like, I like the fact that he's not forgetting about the older fans, and he's kind of like making fun of the newer fans, like, for not really being with how his style is, because I feel a lot of Flower Boy fans have disliked some of the concepts on this album, and disliked some of the songs on the album as well. Because it's a lot more what the older fans are expecting out of him. It's a lot more conceptual. Like, it's much more of just sound, rather than like Flower Boy seems a lot more. It was a cohesive project. It should have been the one that did better, but Igor is doing so well in charts compared to like Flower Boy, where Flower Boy was really the album that I expected to do better in charts. Because I feel like Igor sounds a lot more like, it's structured more like Cherry Bomb, in my opinion, which is one of his most hated. So
yeah, but here's the thing, right? Since Flower Boy's come out, has music moved on so much in that amount of time that people now prefer the sound of Igor, mainstream wise, compared to something like Flower Boy? Because if you look at Brockhampton, for example,
yeah,
I know Brockhampton is like a easy thing to sort of bring up, but that's it is something that you can look at and just think, well, Brockhampton have done that, and they have these sort of breakdowns and hard, heavy hitting songs on their thing as well, but break it up with like a nice little bridge by Bareface or something, and people really like that, and we've seen that a lot after we've seen it with Saturation, but even after Saturation, like, they've improved upon that as well, and people like that more. And I mean, is that the way that it's sort of moving now? Like, do people prefer that? Because as much as Flower Boy is a really good album, it does have a completely different vibe to it, to Igor. Like, I know a lot of people don't like Igor, but it's obviously doing very well.
It is. It's well.
I don't know if that's people not wanting to like it because it's doing well and it's mainstream.
Well, it's actually like it's beaten DJ Khaled's album so far in the in album sales from what I've checked anyway. I'm just going to do like just a real quick check, but as I'm doing this check anyway, I just also want to like run down that like there's so many hidden features and little artists and everything like within it. It's really great. Like the production of it is just amazing. It's kind of like blew my mind a little bit about how much he's progressed and the things that he's done to incorporate older sounds and reimagine them, like using like the chord break from Sometimes from Flower Boy on the album makes me feel like there's still a consistent theme somewhere, and maybe like these back like Cherry Bomb, Flower Boy, and Igor is like another kind of era, and like now we're gonna move on to like another sound progression. Like I don't know, like
there's one thing it's missing, which like it could be a great album, but there's no Frank. So
well, everyone thought Frank was on Running Out of Time, but that's just Tyler on there. So
yeah,
which is great. It's great. It's impressive how great his voice is improved.
Mm-hmm. I like it. It is upsetting not seeing Frank on there, but I mean, I think it shows how much Tyler's come on himself as a person that he doesn't need a Frank verse anymore. Like he can do it himself.
Well, like that's what Frank said to him anyway on Cherry Bomb. He was like, "I'm not singing." He's like, he asked him to go on an album. It's like, if you want to sing, you need to learn how to sing yourself. But obviously, that was when Frank was in his writer's block shit. So like, then when Tyler like was experimenting with his voice on Cherry Bomb, that led to like more experimentation on Flower Boy. And then on this album, we've got full blown like experimentation, and you can hear the influences of all the different albums that he's like been saying that are his like influences, like Pharrell, NERD, Kanye, A$AP Rocky, Childish Gambino. There's so many like little sounds and everything like that. Like Solange's album, you can hear the direct influence from the Solange album into this album. Now that you listen to two projects at the same time, like you can hear it a lot. It's kind of crazy.
Solange has been like a massive thing for this album. But
yeah,
like you just said, then you really can tell the influences, and I think that's good. Like you take influence from good areas, you should end up making good music. So it's nice to see people sort of learning from each other again.
Yeah,
and this is becoming like a thing now where people, instead of still collaborating, but just like learning from each other and learning how to improve.
How are you even like missing out the biggest thing, like Lil Uzi Vert singing on the intro? Like how crazy is that? Like Lil Uzi Vert is in the credits of a Tyler the Creator album, like 2019, like, and he does the best part of the song. He does like the little chorus at the end. Like it's so crazy. I never thought that was Lil Uzi Vert. Like it's just wow. I just love it that like two like people that I really enjoy musically like can link up and make a song that's totally different, like out of their realm. Like same with Carti, his verse on Earthquake was I want a whole album of him on those kind of beats, because he just sounds right on them. Do you know what I'm saying? He just sounds crazy rapping over like beats like that. Like I would love to hear him on like a whole Tyler album or a Neptune's produced album, or like anybody of that kind of like melodic kind of like synth based kind of just like cool like sounding beat like that. Like I would love for him to rap over that instead of like just trap beats. But I do love the trap shit, like don't get me wrong, like I'm still playing like people are calling it Kid Cudi, but it's Young Nudy's song, which is called like Pissy Pamper. I don't know why it's called that, but like that's Young Nudy's song. But the song is like top chart right now in Spotify. Playboy Carti song. It's not even his song. It's unreleased. Somebody else is using the song on Spotify. So if you do want to support the song, go listen to Young Nudy's version, not that one on Spotify because it's not Playboi Carti and he's not making any money, and neither is Young Nudie, and neither is Pierre. So I think that's kind of foul. But anyway, getting totally off topic here. The album is great. I give it, I'm being really biased, but I give it a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 is higher. I'm going to go for like a 8.5.
I can't. I have to give it a 10 out of 10. It's a 10 still.
I want to, but I feel like it's biased. I'll give a different opinion to you.
Oh yeah, okay. If I'm doing total media, like if I'm trying to be unbiased, I'll probably give it a 9. But me, like the fan in me, wants to give it like a 20. Like I can't stop playing the album. There's every song on there I love. Like there's not a song on there that I think, oh, this is kind of a little bit shit. Like gonna skip this. Every single song has like a part in it that I enjoy immensely. Like I'm waiting for it to come. Like that's how much I enjoyed the song. So yeah, as I said, Tyler doing 72 right now. DJ Khaled's doing 68. Meg Thee Stallion's doing about 13, which is good for her because she's just a new like act. That's her debut, and it's really really good. Khaled 68. With all those features on there, I expect him to do way more. So that's quite interesting.
The album's low-key trash, really.
Yeah, it is trash. Like, I like the Nipsey Hussle song on there. I know that all the proceeds are being given to, like, Nipsey Hussle's kids, which I love. John Legend really killed the song, too. Like, I think John Legend did a great like, feature with that, like, gospel sample. And, like, singing the chorus. So I thought that was really cool. Meg's album is really good. I like seeing how female rap is like coming into its own. She's from Houston. She has a different style. The whole album is just fire. Not really much else to say about it. I like her. I like the way she looks. She's cool. So like, just more power to her. Really, like, I think it's more time. Like Cardi B's kind of whack now anyway. So like, keeping it a bean. Like that Wish Wish song was pretty trash. Like, have you heard the one off the album?
I'd not really listened there.
Like 21 Savage's verse is really good, like really really good, but her verse is just her talking about how she's like, why is everyone hating because she's got money now. It just really was a pointless verse in my opinion. Like it just I don't know. And Logic, I don't even know why we talk about Logic, but his album flopped really bad, and I think Logic's starting to lose his edge. So,
what edge?
Well, he had a little bit of an edge before, innit? You know, he had his edgy, I'm biracial like thing that he was doing.
Okay, Logic.
But yeah, so I think that's everything for all the news. That's everything.
I mean, the last thing is, if you want to go and stream Logic's album, then feel free. He's got 2. He's got Supermarket, it's a great album. And the new one that I don't know the name of.
Oh, it's called Confessions of a Danger. Did we not say it? Yes, I think we said it like last show.
Yeah, we said it last
Confessions of a Danger. I'm not listening to it, by the way, because it's just, I heard it's him like sampling other people's music. Like, can this guy do something original for 1 second? Like, everything he raps and does is some type of somebody's flow or somebody's song, and it sounds like it. Like, remember that like mixtape where he like ripped off Drake? Like, just why? It's fucking terrible, man. Anyway,
because he's biracial.
Fucking biracial. Anyway, this has been like a really long episode. We've got so much gaming news out of the way. The playlist updated weekly. Just because Tom ain't gonna be here, don't mean that he ain't gonna be updating the playlist. So I'm gonna make sure he does his shit. We're still gonna be, well, you're gonna be back by the time anyway. The next like show comes round. E3 coverage will be covered and be posted. We're just gonna have to figure that out.
I should be back. We should be back ready to do some E3 stuff. We might miss a day or two, but for the main stuff, we will be here.
I'm gonna keep that. Everyone. I'm gonna keep that going anyway. I'll keep the coverage going as much as I can. Hopefully for E3 time, we want to try and get some people on. Like, if anything, like try and get some more thoughts and whatever. We said we were gonna try and go better for E3, but plans come away. We need breaks. We've been working very hard this year, so yeah. Anyway, this is 808s and Joysticks. Follow us on all socials. You know all the good stuff. We're on all platforms. Thanks for listening as always. Peace out.
If you liked any of the music in today's show, then please check the credits in the description to see what songs we used.